Genau.
Bienvenidas y bienvenidos al primer Congreso Internacional Interdisciplinario sobre Vejez y Envejecimiento. A continuación daremos inicio a la primera conferencia magistral impartida por la doctora Ursula Lehr para cada uno de nosotros. Les pedimos sean amables y guardar silencio y ocupar sus lugares. Les pedimos también sean tan amables.
Ja, toll.
Yeah. You know, I think that there is no lift. There should be lift here.
No,
Lift in the building. Because,
yes, but it's possible for me. I need time, but then it will be okay.
the question, I think, is rails.
Yes.
Rails. The rails.
As a rail.
Rail.
Yes, I see.
Yes, yeah.
No railings or no rail.
Rail.
Okay, fine.
If you like, we can just see.
If you want to do it, yes, why not?
Muy buenos días. Damos la más cordial bienvenida a la doctora Ursula Lehr, quien será nuestra primera conferencista. Y les pido, por favor, guardar silencio.
Muy buenos días. Es un honor para nosotros en la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México que esta mañana nos acompañe la doctora Ursula Lehr. Will be given by Ursula Lehr. I don't know if I should present her because she's a really well-known researcher on aging, not only a distinguished researcher but also public policy maker. But we don't just mention her achievements. Few achievements. She's a professor of Bonn University and also Heidelberg University, also gerontology and founding director of the Institute of Gerontology of the University of Heidelberg. During the time of the Bundeskanzler was Helmut Kohl, she was a federal minister of Youth, Family, Women and Health. It was in 1988 to 1991. She was also member of the German Parliament. And from 1995, founding director and scientific director of the German Center for Research on Aging at the University of Heidelberg. And nowadays, she's president of the German National Association of Senior Citizens organization, the acronym BAXO.
Okay.
And the author of more than 900 publications, scientific. She focuses on psychological development, lifespan psychology, education, social psychology, family studies, and demographic change. So please join me in welcoming Professor Ursula.
Good morning all together. Thank you very much, Dr. Czarnecki, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. And let me say good morning to the adolescents of yesterday and the day before yesterday, and also to the senior citizens of tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. You must know, all of us, we are aging from day to day, from week to week, from month to month, from year to year. We are getting older. But it's not so important how old one will be, but how one will get old. It's not only important to add life to years, but it's important to, it's not only important to add years to life, but it's important to add life 2 years. We are living in an aging world. That means more and more people are getting older and older. I will give my paper in 4 different points. The first one, the aging world, demographic facts. Let me see what happened during the next time. Population aging and urbanization are the global trends of the 21st century. In the year 2007, over half of the population lives in cities, and 2030, about more than 60% of the population will live in great cities. Both trends are occurring at a faster rate in developing countries. But you'll see the world population is growing more and more. The blue one is in the year 2000, and the red one will be 2050. The global world population is growing, but Europe is expected to decrease dramatically. Europe will become the oldest continent of the world. Something wrong? Okay, thank you. Europe will become the oldest continent of the world due to a continuous rise in mean life expectancy and a decreasing birth rate. You see here the 5 regions of the world, and the first 3, this is Europe, the yellow color is the year 2000, the red one 2025, and the blue one in the year 2050. And you see the first one, Europe, is decreasing. But Africa, with all the problems of this country, will increase. Asia, the third column, is increasing very, very much. Latin America is increasing too, and North America the same. Here we have also very exactly the population growth, and you see, look on the right side behind me, Germany, the population is decreasing from today about 82 million inhabitants to about 70 million in the year 2050. But Mexico, at the same time, will have more and more population, from now about 98 to then 147 million. You see the different development of the countries. Here you see, very interesting, the population of the world age 65 and over. The blue color, this is these countries where today the population 65 and over is more than 20%. This is in the year 2000. And here, this is in the year 2050. 2050, you see nearly all the countries of the world, without Africa, has a population 65 and over, 20% and more. Only just a few. These are, you know, Germany has Europe, the United Europe has 27 states, and you see in all the states the development between the year 1950, 2000 and 2050. This may be more interesting for you. The percentage of people 60 years and older in Mexico. Here you can compare the time 1970 to 2050. And you see in this moment, I hope you can read it, you have 8.7% people 60 years and older in Mexico, and you will get 27% and older in Mexico in the year 2050. But not only the percentage of the people 60 and over is increasing, also the percentage of people 80 and over. This is also the 27 states of the United Europe, and you see the rapid increase of the group 80 years and over. Here it's clear, the right one, the group 80 and over, this one 60 and over, and you see what happened now in Mexico. The percentage of people 80 and over now is only nearly 1%, but in the year 2020, that's very soon, it will be nearly 2%, 1.8, and in the year 2050, it will be 4.6%, 80 years and over. You know, this is the situation in Germany in the year 1910. There we have had a pyramid. Then then the year 2010, it's the year 2040. More interesting for you, this is the pyramid of Mexico. And here you have all the pictures, and you see how the pyramid will be more or less a mushroom, say the American people. The life expectancy in Germany has doubled during the last 140 years, and now the average life expectancy of a male, of a boy born, is 77.9, let me say 78 years, and of a newborn girl is nearly 83 years. Life expectancy in Mexico is growing very much too. You see, in the year 2013, it was 71 years for a newborn boy and 77 years for a newborn girl. But also, the number of people which are centenarians, which are 100 years and older, is growing more and more. Here you see, very interesting, the people of Germany who celebrated the 100th birthday. And you see the increase. In the year 2014, we have had 6,611 people who celebrated the 100th birthday. And also the 105th birthday celebrated in the last year 616 persons. You see a very, very old population we have in Germany. Here I have the numbers of Mexico from the WHO Atlas from 1950 to 2050, and you have all the numbers. Germany with around about 82 millions of inhabitants, and the number of centenarians, the red one, from 7.2 thousand to 114,000 centenarians we will have in the year 2050. And Mexico at this time will have 9,700 centenarians. Aging is very different in each country. Aging has many different phases. Aging itself is not only a biological process, but it is a process determined by a number of biological, social, and ecological factors which are influencing the lifestyle, which are influencing your behavior, which are influencing the aging processes. There are great differences between people of the same age group, of the same chronological age, also within the same country. There is a competent and wise senior who is able to manage his own life also if he's 90 or 100 years of age, and who is going to sport opportunities, who is doing something on the computer, but also there is the ill, the helpless, and the dependent senior who needs help and support if he's maybe 60 or 65 or so on. Here I would have had two very nice pictures. Yes, yeah. There are two people, both of them are 63 years of age. On the left, this is the mother of Albrecht Dürer, and in the year 1514. And the other one, you have seen it, is Sophia Loren, in the year, also the same age, 63 years, in the year 1997. You see two people of the same age group in different times. Okay, but aging doesn't mean to need care. The percentage of competent older people who are independent, that's the blue color, is very high. And the percentage of people who need home care, the green color, and who are living in homes for the aged in Germany, this is a red color. And you see the blue color in the age group that's there, in the age group 80 to 85. There more than 80% are competent and are able to manage their daily life. In the age group in the middle, between 85 and 90 years, these are 62%. And in the age group 90 and over, we have 40% of people who don't need care, who are able to manage the daily life. Here, the same, once again, seen from the point of permanent care in different age groups. In the year 2011 in Germany, and you see 80 to 85, only 20% need care, 85 to 90, 36%, and 90 and over, 57% need care. But we have another problem. The problem of dementia. The percentage of people with cognitive impairments is increasing from age group to age group. And in the age group 90 plus, there we have more than 33% which have cognitive impairment. But when we are discussing problems of care, we have to know that most elderly people enjoy a reasonable good health and are within their limitations, which are given, capable of a productive activities, of a productive life. Much more attention should be paid to prevention. The individual and the society has to do everything possible to prolong the period of active, healthy life. And mobility is the main prerequisite of staying active. Before I discuss this point, I have to look for the demographic change. Another point, I told you, we have more and more older and older people, but women are more and more childless. you see, this is the situation in Germany. So it's different from the Mexican situation. The left one, women born 1950, that means women which are now 65 years and older, they're only 11% were childless. But 10 years later, women which today are 55, they are 21% don't have children. And the younger group, 1/3 of the women never will have had children. And this is the situation which makes clear what means demographic change. And now it's a little bit difficult, but I don't have a pointer, but I hope it will be. Here we compare 3 different countries in the European Union, in Europe, because, yeah, you see the red color, this is, let me see, the red color is, Austria, yes. Austria, the red, Germany, the green color, and Switzerland, the blue color. All these 3 countries are very similar. What is interesting, in the year 1880, one person, 75 years and older, was confronted with 79, 88, and 78 younger persons, younger than 70 years. In the year 1920-25, one person, 75 and older, was confronted with more than 60 younger peoples. And now you see the trend, and the next picture is more interesting or makes it clear. This is the situation in Germany you have seen, which is very similar in Austria and Switzerland. One person, 75 years and older in relation to younger persons in Germany. And here once again, in the year 1890, one person, 75 and older, was confronted with 36 persons younger than 20 years, with 23 persons between 20 and 40 years, and 15 persons 40 and 60 years, and 5, the red color, for 60 to 75. At 1925, the second column, there one person, 75, confronted with 67. The third one, 1950, one person, 75 years and older, confronted with 35 persons. Today, in Germany, one person, 75 and older, is confronted only with 9.8 persons, less than 10 persons. But it's a time when our persons, which are now 50 years old, will become 75. So it means in the year 2040, here, then one person, 75 years and older, will be confronted only with 4.4 persons which are younger than 75. Can you imagine it? 175 and older, only 4.4 which are younger than 75. Only 0.8 in the age group beyond 20 years. And 1.1, 20 to 40, and 40 to 60, 1.4. You see, this is the situation. This is a demographic change. You can't imagine. Okay, and so we have to do everything. I have said aging has many phases. There is a very active old people moment, what is here. So we have to do everything for an active aging, for a healthy and competent aging. And this is the second point which I will bring now. Active aging is the process of optimizing opportunities for health, for participation and security in order to enhance the quality of life as people aged. the World Health Organization in the year 2002. Active aging means well-being, means quality of life, means life satisfaction. But what is active aging? Prevention, we have to do everything. The importance of physical activity, of mental activity, and of social contacts, of social activities, as well as healthy nutrition, must be understood from childhood on. What's that? Ja, ich weiß. What's
La salida de emergencia que se encuentra en esa escalera, del lado del presidio, los que están abajo, por favor.
you have to go out. Warum?
Compañeros, no tiene por qué preocuparse. Tranquilos, tranquilos, tranquilos. Es que está sobrecargada el auditorio. Entonces, obviamente, tenemos que desalojar porque está sobrecargado el auditorio. Ustedes sienten el calor, ¿cierto? Entonces, tranquilos, tenemos que desalojar. Ahorita que ya salieron todos, pues tenemos que tener conciencia de que esto tiene una capacidad. Entonces, por mucho que quieran entrar, hay un límite. No podemos sobreponernos. Entonces, tenemos opciones de salir tranquilamente o quedarnos tranquilamente. Pero con conciencia de que la temperatura es alta, está elevada y no
Is high here, so this is automatic building because the temperature is very high. Can you believe it? Yeah, this is very very interesting that we don't have. It's a very not friendly building for age people, but very sensitive building for things like
I see.
temperature.
I see. And
Das war Gott sei
sensitive.
Dank kein Erdbeben, no earthquake.
This is like sensitive building, so
You right? Look, this I bought this for you a long time ago when I started to work with old people.
Yeah,
And really, I love you and I want to talk with you after because I learn a lot about you.
Vamos a tener la mentoría a la 1. Usted está inscrita en el
Híjole, no me puse, pero puedes hacer que me permitan.
Ah, sí.
Yo voy, tú vas a estar. De Lucía Aranda.
Sí, ya tiene programa una mentoría a la 1. Sí.
Ja. Erklären Sie. Do you say why this happened? No, not for me, for the people.
No. It was already explained. She explained, the Dr. Maria Montera, just already explained that this is sensitive building.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's go on. This was a training in physical activity for all of you. And also a training in reaction time. Okay, physical activity is quite necessary. And to do it from childhood on, aging is a lifelong process. Which kind of physical activity is necessary? Health and well-being do not necessarily decrease with increasing age, but you can find health only there where you are fighting for it every day, and we have fought for them now at this moment. Physical activity is a prerequisite for healthy aging because age-determinate physical changes, such as functional impairment of the organs, changes in the motor systems and muscular systems, as well as changes in the respiratory organs, are similar to the effect of lack of exercise. The young, physical inactive individual seems to be old, just as the old but active individual seems to be young. There are many, many studies which confirm that sports, physical activity are correlated with healthy aging. Physical activity also affects the well-being in regard to certain mental abilities, to cognitive functioning, to subjective well-being, to social skills and self-concepts. Memory and learning ability are also influenced by physical exercise. Sport is an activating factor, stimulating social contacts and structuring the daily life. Sports and physical activities, there is a European research done and published in 2013, and there you can read that 40% of the citizens of the European Union say that there is no exercise, no sport, at least once a week. Men exercise more sport than women in Germany, in Europe. Sports and physical activities are decreasing with increasing age. 22% of the age group 70 plus are doing sports. Citizens of the Nordic countries in the Netherlands are the most active one, most Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Ireland, Netherlands, and Slovenia. There the people are more active in sport, in the others they are not so active. In 20 member states, the majority of the elderly, 60 plus, does not exercise sport. 60% of all the citizens of the European Union. Bulgaria, 82%, Greece, 79%, no sport. Hungary, 71%, Romania, 69%. You see, so it is. Sports and physical activity, there is a high correlation between education and sports. There is also a correlation with the financial situation of the people. Informal physical exercise, cycling, walking, dancing, gardening, and so on, these are doing a high percentage once a week. Many citizens of the European Union prefer outdoor exercise and using indoor sports facilities, less using indoor facilities. Now we have to ask here, there are different kinds of sports, and this is coming especially from the Asian countries. There you find the possibility to do sport outside the home, to go on the street, to go through the wooden areas, and then you can find sport possibilities. Here once again. Most elderly people know very well the positive effects of physical activity and sport, but they behave not in this way. And so we have to ask, what are the motivations and what are the barriers to sport and physical activities for elderly people? Maybe you know Welford, one of the elderly geriatricians. He's coming from the United Kingdom and then was teaching in Australia. And he created the motivations barrier theory, very similar to the cost-benefit theory. And Welford in 1976 said, the individual will undertake an activity only when the anticipated benefit or the expected gain of this activity is higher than the related costs or the necessary efforts. With increasing, and this shows the next picture, with increasing age, motivations for some activities is steadily decreasing. People very often don't realize the benefits, and so the motivation is decreasing, while the inhibiting factors, the costs, and the necessary efforts are increasing. Here you can see it very exactly. As a motivation is going down during the years, during becoming elderly, and the barriers are more and more. And so we have to ask, which are the motivations or the expectations for sport and physical activity? And we found in our studies, physical and psychological well-being. I feel better after physical activity, or fun and pleasure, or physical fitness, or relaxing, or social life, to meet other people. That's also motive, to meet other people when I am doing sports. My self-esteem will increase. Resistance to illness, to health, and mental flexibility, mental fitness too. And what are the perceived barriers to physical activity? And there, I feel good without sport. Why shall I do some sport? Why shall I do some physical activity? I have enough other hobbies. Or no interests, no time. Or handicaps due to the health status. Or the mainly negative physical self-image. I am not young and very nice to see. The individual, the unsuccessful sport biography, a fear of having social contacts, of not being accepted by the other people of the same group, but also there are ecological conditions, unfavorable transportation system to come to sport areas, or unfavorable opening hours of sport facilities. The swimming pool isn't opened in the early morning and the late evening, or uncomfortable dressing rooms, too small, no possibility to sit down, or too cold water in the public swimming pools, no information about sport opportunities. And so we have learned, while elderly people who are not active, who are not exercising, some few mainly, I would do it if it's necessary for my health. That means health promotion qualities of sport as a potential motivating factor, stressing instrumental motives. There is an emphasis on expressive motive, just for fun, people who did just for fun sport by older, which are active in sport. Consequently, the expressive motivation must be increased and the enhanced and to stimulate an engagement in sport of elderly people. Motivation of physical active seniors, I told it, physical activity is fun. To realize that you can achieve something. You just feel good during and after the activity. You are together with other people. And the motivation of physically inactive people, you have to do something for health because the doctor told me to do it. You have to do something against high blood pressure. You have to do something against. You see, there are different motivations. And now I'll come to point 3, mental and social activity, a prerequisite for healthy aging. Mental activity Many studies have shown that mentally more active people, individuals with a higher range of interest, a farther reaching future time perspective, and a greater number of social contacts reach old age with greater feelings of psychophysical well-being. Cognitive activity is essential for healthy aging. Elderly persons must be given mental tasks. They must be challenged to mental activity. Reduction in mental activity can speed up the processes of aging. Functions which are not used decrease and get lost. Lose it or lose it. And so, many times ago, Riley and Riley in the year 1982 have shown in former times, this is the left side, yes, in former times, in young age, you have the education. In adulthood, you have to work very hard. And in old age, you will have leisure time, free time. But today, the right side, you know, we have to learn from the beginning of our life till the last hours of our life. Lifelong learning doesn't stop if you have finished your job. Lifelong learning is necessary for all of us. And we have to not to work very hard, not in sense of an occupation, but to do something during the whole life. And we should have also leisure time during the whole life. What can be done during the life? There was a German saying that was in German, was Hänschen nicht lernt, lernt Hans nicht mehr, in English. What the young Hans doesn't learn, the older Hans will not learn anymore. But this was wrong. Our parents teach us this. This is not true. It is disproved in many studies. You can learn in old age. And I know an elderly lady, 94 years of age, which was able to learn to use a computer. She was living in a home for the aged, and the director of the home of the aged has had a 12-year-old son, and the son visited some of the inhabitants of this home for the aged, and so he had a speech with the 94-year-old lady and said, do you have children? Yes, where are your children? Oh, one is living in Australia, far away, and I never will see him because it's very expensive to come here, and I only call once a month because also this is very expensive. And then the young boy, the 12 years old, took his computer, contacted the son in Australia, and he visited a second time this old lady and said, you want to see your son? Oh yes, I want to do, but sorry, it's not possible. And then he Skyped with him, and he has the old son, and the mother saw the old son, and she was speaking with the son, the 94 with the son in Australia. And he took the laptop around and showed her where he's living and so on. She was happy. And then she needed 3 weeks. And during 3 weeks, she was able to Skype with her son. She could learn it, everything. And we have also had another Beispiel. Some weeks ago in our television, there was a picture, not a picture, a cinema television of the 100-year-old Facebook grandmother. And the Facebook grandmother learned in the years when she was 100 years of age, she learned to contact her children, her family, and so on. You see, learning is possible. But on the other time, we have also a study of onliners and offliners. Onliners in Germany, there you see in the younger age, 14 to 20 years, they are nearly all of them 94% of the male and 92% of the female are online. In the age group 50 to 60 years, these are only 80% of the male and 73% of the females. In the age group 60 to 70, only 67 for males and 54 for females. But in the age group 70 to 80, only 46% of the male and 24% of the female are onliners. And in the age group 80 plus, only 23% of the male and only 8% of the female are able to use the computers, are onliners. And in the future, this will be quite necessary to use it. Social activity is a prerequisite for healthy aging too. You have to fight against social isolation. People have to be active and engaged in many social roles. So you are getting stimulation and information. You may be getting stimulation and information. You may discuss your problems with other people and problems of the world, of the political situation. Many studies have shown that the feeling of being needed is highly correlated with the quality of life. And a policy for the aged, however, should not be determined only by the question, what can be done for the aged? It also should be asked, what can the aged person, excuse me, a little bit I know. What can the aged do for the society? Integration and participation are quite necessary. It's helpful for the aging person, but also helpful for the society. And 30% of the elderly are doing something. I will hurry a little bit. Butler, many of you will have heard this name. Butler, a very famous geriatrician of the United States. He said, the participation of older people enriches society economically, culturally, and spiritually. Health and productivity are closely connected. The loss of one may entail the loss of the other and so lead on dependency. Decline in mental, psychological, and physical activities and incompetence, whereas productivity, participation, responsibility, and the feeling of being needed have a favorable effect on health. We have to recognize that health and productivity are interacting conditions. The unproductive human is at higher risk of illness and economic dependency, and the sick person is limited in productivity and is therefore at higher risk of dependency. But now it's very interesting. The last point, it's a short one. I have time lost because the alarm, you see. Active aging is a challenge for communities. Possible barriers of activities for elderly persons are given. We are an aging society, and age-friendly cities needs age-friendly rooms. And I must tell you, this room is not age-friendly. Aging does not necessarily mean a decline of skills and abilities. The aging process can be influenced by the person, I have told it to you, by an active lifestyle, but also by promoting age-friendly living environments, which allows safety mobility for walking, for cycling, using the car, barrier-free buildings and streets, secure neighborhoods, enhance the mobility, and enhance the independence of elderly peoples, but also of peoples of all age groups. Do you remember the moment? So, yeah, do you remember this picture? If you have a society like in Germany, where in the near future, one person, 75 and older, is compared only with 4.4 younger people than younger than 75, then you have to change the environment. And so we know, I have told you, 75 years person doesn't need care, but sometimes they have some kinds of reduction. Mobility, fine motor skills, sensory functions, vision problems, changes in color vision, limitations of the hearing system, sensitivity, restrictions regarding strength and endurance. And so we need a preventive environment. On the one hand, barriers need to be recognized and removed. On the other hand, the living environment needs to be arranged in a way that motivate physical, mental, and social activities. The Vienna Conference, 1982, the Madrid World Conference on Aging in 2002, and the Lyon Conference in the year 2007 on problems of aging. Also, they discussed the image of the elderly person, the competences, their potentials, the human capital, but also their problems and the necessity to adapt the environment to this growing group of the elderly. And the WHO created a model program on age-friendly cities. And we also, from the BAXO, we asked our people, our elderly people, yes, this is something about the BAXO, it's not so necessary now, but we asked what can be done to create a better environment, to create an age-friendly environment. And there we have a transportation system. Yes, this was interesting. The condition of pavements influences walking in the local area. Narrow, uneven, crackling, glittering, looking, or glassy makes the elderly people insecure and produces falls, produces dependency. 30% of people which need care are the follow of falls. Cobbled pavement, wheelchairs, rollator walkers, but also baby buggers are not very comfortable for elderly people. We need age-friendly cities, cities for all generations. To cross the street safely, traffic lights with visual and auditory signals, and longer periods that also a person who is not so quickly can cross the street. We need sometimes age-friendly environment to sit down if you was walking very long. Or a problem, you see, I have told it 20 years ago, but now I feel it for myself. A problem stairs without both hand railings, without railings on both sides. Public toilets, which are conveniently, street signs, house numbers. And you see the next picture there. This is the right stair. If you have stairs, then handrails on both sides and market steps that you can come in. To enter the buses, to enter the streets, the system of tickets for the buses and for the bahn, there are many things has to be done. Transportation is a key for influencing active life. Being able to move within the city determines social and cultural participation. And there something has to be changed. You see here, we have wonderful museums in Germany. I'm quite sure you have too. Wonderful. There are wonderful exponats, and you want to know who is the painter, what is the name of the painter, when he lived. And then you have to go down, and you find a very small card, the name, and so on. This has to be changed. A moment. Challenges in the aging world is teaching the people to do everything for a healthy and competent aging. But the responsible persons in the community for city planning have to realize this change. They have to adjust the buildings, the streets, the traffic. The architects have to do it too. to create an environment and transportation system which are acceptable and human also for elderly is a challenge of our time. I have told it to you. Also, if you go shopping, you have to see what can be done. We have a so-called Age Explorer or Age Simulator. And there you have whites in the arms and so on. And everything must be that also cis people will be able to do it. Here you see, very difficult to get something to eat for every day, to manage it, to open it, or to open the schmuck, the treasures and so on. Gerontology, yes, a gerontological, ecological, and environmental approach, specially designed for an elderly population, is a relatively young but very important future-oriented field of research and counseling. Our industry has to realize the population change too. Easier handling of ticket machines, light switch, amateurs, telephone, keyboards, the cap of jars and bottles, video players must become easier to handle. Mobile phones should be more legible. Gerontologists and geriatricians, designer and marketing psychologists are demanded to give advice to make products in such a way that the elderly can deal with them and handle it. Politicians, city councillors, and scientists of all disciplines and faculties, administrators and practitioners have to discuss the question of population change, the question of an aging society, how to get longevity combined with a state of psychophysical well-being. I stop, but I have, we should be 11:10.
Yeah, but we got 1 minute.
What? No problem, you say? Okay, but I have finished sowieso. Longevity, a challenge for healthy aging. A policy for the elderly has to be more than just a policy for a pension system and a policy for care. And in most countries, it's only this policy. The policy for the elderly has to include the aspect of optimized development of the individual, preventive behavior, healthy lifestyle, and rehabilitation, to create an age-friendly environment, and to create age-friendly products. A policy for senior citizens, maintaining and increasing the competence of the elderly in order to prevent dependency, to secure a healthy aging with a high degree of quality, to secure participation in the society, and to promote the understanding between the generations, which requires the participation of all generations, partly by integrative senior citizens in politics and policy decision making. Old age, nearly the last, longevity shouldn't be seen as a problem, but as a chance and a challenge for everyone, for the aging individual, for his or her family, and for our society. We should not only ask for the problems and the deficits of aging at old age. We have to ask for the resources, the new potentials of the aged, also for the competences and potentials of the very old persons. We have to see the aged in the 21st century as human capital, and in this way, let's try to be optimistic that we are successful. The optimist is a person who turns a problem into a challenge that needs to be solved. The pessimist is a person who turns a challenge into a problem which makes feel him helpless. In this way, thank you for your attention. Yeah, okay.
Muchas gracias, doctora Lehr. La exposición que nos compartió es sin duda muy interesante, pero también abre muchas discusiones. La doctora Lehr, después del contexto demográfico, hablaba sobre tres campos, también el envejecimiento activo y el incremento del deporte, después de las actividades sociales y mentales, desafío para la comunidad, también para las políticas públicas. Tenemos 10 minutos para las preguntas. Empezamos sobre dos o tres preguntas del público. Aquí tenemos un micrófono. Por favor, que sean preguntas concretas, porque tenemos solamente 10 minutos. Por favor.
Please help me. Yeah, yeah, I can do it, yeah. Ach so.
I have, in this meantime, I have one question because it's so interesting, but what do you think of the mechanism of inclusion, the people, the poor people? Because in our region of Latin America and the Caribbean countries, the main problem is the huge inequalities. What are the mechanisms of social inclusion, especially of this group of people?
I didn't, excuse me, I didn't exactly get the question. May I read it, or is it in Spanish? In Spanish, that's very difficult. Maybe you can read it in Spanish and you can translate it in German.
No, the question is about the mechanism of the social inclusion.
Yeah.
Of the excluded group of poor people or people who do not have, all these facilities. Because the huge problem of Latin America and the Caribbean countries is huge inequalities. The mechanism of social inclusion. What are the
I can tell you, I don't know if I got the question exactly, but I can tell you that the image of the elderly and the behavior of the elderly has changed enormously during the last 3 decades. Since 1980, there we have a change. Till 1980, the elderly person was a person who needs help, who needs care, a person who has to do nothing. And since the years about 80, 85, since this time, the elderly person has a more and more positive image, and then the elderly is included also more and more in the society. It doesn't work everywhere, but it works on many, many fields. The elderly, now we have a retirement age of 65 plus 67, but we are fighting for the flexibility of retirement age. And many people are working because they like to work, not because they have to work to get money. They like to work in the 80s too. And we have seen that this person who were working in a high age, in the 75 plus, that they are more healthy, they are more active. But this is a correlation and not Ursache-Wirkung, and not cost, you see.
Muchas gracias. Tenemos una pregunta del público. Por favor.
Buenos días. Me gustaría saber la edad de tan brillante expositor. Para nosotros fue un inmenso placer escucharla.
Das ist Spanisch.
¿Cómo es? ¿Puede repetir?
How old I am? 3 days ago, I celebrated my 85th birthday. 85th.
Una pregunta. Por favor, Fernando.
Buenos días, gracias. Soy y tengo una pregunta con relación a si es una regla que a mayor edad se presenta demencia, puesto que ahora ha cambiado la situación.
I'm able to hear, but I can't hear any translation. It is, yes.
This is dementia.
Dementia.
Yeah, dementia. It's a transformation of the change.
Oh yes, I can tell you a lot of dementia. I have told you that in the older age group we have 90 plus. We have 1/3 of people which have dementia, but I must tell you, very often it is a pseudo-dementia. It is in reality a depression in old age, which also our doctors diagnose as dementia. And it's very interesting, you know, I think in your country too, everyone is speaking of the burnout. You know what is burnout? No, you can translate it. Burnout means if a people is working and working and working and is, yeah, how translate it? And burn out, ausgebrannt sein. That's an English word, a burnout. But now they have shown we have also a bore out von boredom, Langeweile. Burnout have the successful people who are working, who are work alcoholics. But bore out have the people who are doing nothing. And both of them, burnout and bore out, have the same symptoms. They are not motivated, they don't be happy, they cannot be happy, and they are depressive. And many people in old age have a bore out because they have nothing to do. They are living in homes for the aged and have nothing to do. And so they are becoming more and more depressive. And many doctors diagnose this is dementia. But we know against a depression, you can do something. You can give therapy, you can give medical, medicamente, yeah. But if you have a dementia, you can't do. You can a little bit prolong the process, yes, but you can't therapy dementia, but you can therapy in depression.
Sí, gracias. Buenos días, doctora, muchas gracias por su plática. Mi pregunta es, bueno, yo tengo claro que definitivamente en la medida en que trabajemos uniendo esfuerzos, las diferentes disciplinas, lograremos un mejor impacto en el proceso de envejecimiento exitoso.
Ajá.
This is, you know, the unity of interdisciplinary. ¿Sí?
Yes. Entonces, la pregunta es, ¿cómo es que se logra un trabajo interdisciplinario en Alemania? Porque
How to, you know, like gain interdisciplinary work.
Yes. Gerontology is an interdisciplinary field. You know, we started of the German Society of Gerontology in the year 1967, and they're started by the medical doctors. But at the same time, were included the sociologists, in the same time were included the psychologists, and now are included the architects and the city planner, because it's quite necessary that all of them work together. And so gerontology is an interdisciplinary field of research, and also an interdisciplinary field of practical work, of adaptive. And it's necessary that our scientific knowing is brought to to the practice. Many practitioners have to learn something about the processes of aging. And the practitioners, this is something where the BAXO, I am retired since 12 years, a little bit more, yes. And so I am on a voluntary level, the president of the German Association, a Federal Association of 111 different organizations of senior peoples. All our political parties have their own senior part of the parties. And the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church, they also have many groups where elderly persons are working together. Kolping, maybe you have heard of it, and women groups. And also, we have also in our 111 parts, the Association of Alzheimer, you know, the Association of Osteoporosis. Some medical associations also are included, Selbsthilfegruppen, self-help associations, yeah. And so we are bringing our scientific knowledge to the people, and I think this is very necessary. And I ask all of you to do a lot of research, but to bring your research to the people, that the people have something from your knowledge. Okay.
Muchas gracias, doctora. Algunos de ustedes van a participar en la sesión de gracias a la última por la parte de la doctora Ursula. Doctora, por su destacada participación como ponente, let me just say something about English. Please receive this medal.
The university medal.
Oh la la!
From our
Oh la la!
on behalf of our
Wonderful. Ich habe die von Kaka auch nicht. Thank you very, very, very much. Many thanks. Okay. Okay. Ja. Noch eine Pause.